If you're buying a house in Calgary and you find out there's a tenant living in it, your whole purchase just got a whole lot more complicated. You're now buying two things, a house and someone else's lease. I'm gonna walk you through what actually happens when you buy a property with a tenant in place in Alberta, the two paths your purchase can take, what the security deposit transfer looks like, and the mistake that catches buyers off guard. I'm David Stephen, a realtor with CIR Realty here in Calgary, and I've actually been working a deal exactly like this in Northeast Calgary over the last couple of weeks. Tenant in place for 14 years, buyer wants to live in the house. The mechanics are not what most people think they are. This video is for buyers, sellers, and anyone trying to understand what they're walking into. It applies anywhere in Alberta because the rules are provincial, but I'll keep the examples Calgary specific. Here's the first fork in the road. Either you want to keep the tenant after possession, or you want them out before you move in. Two different deals. If you want to keep the tenant, you're inheriting their lease. Whatever rent they're paying, whatever terms they signed, that contract follows the house. You don't get to renegotiate just because you're the new owner. Alberta's Residential Tenancies Act protects the tenant, not the buyer. If you want the tenant out, you have two scenarios. The lease is fixed term, ending on a specific date, or it's month to month. Fixed term, you wait until it ends. You can't terminate early just because you want to move in. Month to month, the seller can serve notice for buyer's own use with at least 90 days written notice ending on the last day of a rental month. That 90-day notice rule is the one buyers don't see coming. If you firm up possession on July 1st, but the seller hasn't served notice yet, possession with a vacant house might not happen until October or November. So let's talk about the money side, because this one catches people. The tenant paid a security deposit when they moved in. Could be $1,200, could be $2,000, whatever first month's rent was at the time. That deposit has been sitting in the landlord's trust account, earning interest. Alberta has a prescribed annual interest rate on security deposits. When the house sells, that deposit transfers to you, the buyer. It happens on the statement of adjustments at closing. Your lawyer credits the seller for prepaid items like property tax, and they credit you for the security deposit plus all the accrued interest. The number gets baked into the final cash you bring or receive. What that means in plain language, you now hold that deposit. You're responsible for returning it to the tenant when the tenancy eventually ends. Less any damages, less any unpaid rent. If you ever sell this property again with the tenant still in it, you transfer the deposit on. It travels with the lease. A practical note, get the actual deposit amount, the date it was paid, and the cumulative interest figure in writing before you firm up. Your lawyer needs it. The listing agent should be able to pull it from the seller. If they can't, that's a flag. 5 things worth knowing before you firm up. First, inspection access. The tenant has rights. You can't book your home inspector for Saturday morning at 9 a.m. without 24 hours of written notice to the tenant, and even then, they can make life difficult. So build extra time into your condition period for this. Second, what the tenant knows. Tenants who've lived somewhere for years know things the seller doesn't even know. Reoccurring sewer backups, basement leaks in the spring, that one window that frosts over every January. Ask the listing agent if there are any tenant experienced issues. It's not a question you usually ask, but in a tenanted purchase, it's load bearing. Third, illegal suites. A lot of basement suited properties in Calgary aren't registered with the city. If you buy one with a tenant downstairs, you're inheriting that regulatory exposure. So check the City of Calgary secondary suite registry before you firm up. Search the address. If it's not listed, that suite is not legal. Fourth, you can't just walk in. From the day the seller accepts your offer to the day you take possession, the house is still the tenant's home. Pop-ins, measurement visits, contractor walkthroughs, all of it goes through proper notice. Most buyers don't realize this until they try to book a contractor and the seller's agent says no. Fifth, and this is the one that ends deals. If the lease is fixed term and you need to move on a specific date, do the math. Read the lease, confirm the end date. Don't assume the seller can deliver vacant possession just because you put it in the offer. They legally cannot break that lease early without the tenant's consent. The plain read, buying a tenanted house in Calgary is doable. It's common, but the rules are provincial and the rules favor the tenant, and the timeline is rarely what the buyer assumes on day one. If you're looking at a property with a tenant in it and you want an honest read on what you're walking into, my DMs are always open, or you can visit calgaryrealestatehomes.ca and reach out from there.